Okay, so now we're at the number 2 in the Duet CAL, which is the second scarf here. So I've got my last cake that I'll be using, and let's get to that right away. So basically it works the same way, in a similar way. We're using the moss stitch again. So a single crochet, chains, chain 1 spaces, except there's no corner per se, so there's no chain 2 space. And what's different is that we work from one end to the other. So on one side we're constantly increasing, and at some point we're going to be decreasing. So basically the instructions say that we start with chain 2, okay, because we're starting at one end, so basically chain 2, and we work in the second chain from the hook, which is basically the first chain that we worked in. So it's basically we crochet a single crochet in the first, we chain 1, and then we do another single crochet in that same space. Okay, row 2, okay, we chain 1 and turn, we SC in the single crochet in the first stitch. Okay, we always work in the first stitch. All right, now because we need to be increasing at some point, here there's already one side is increasing, one edge is increasing, and the other is not. Basically, as you can see, row 1 was the single crochet, chain 1, single crochet in that first, it's not here, but that's basically row 1. Row 2 is, you see, because this edge is always the same, that edge is not increasing, whereas this edge is always increasing. For example, row 2, you do your single crochet in your first stitch, and then you have to do a single crochet in the chain 1 right away. Okay, so we're not increasing on that side. Then you chain 1, and then you single crochet in the last stitch. Okay, so if you don't mind, I won't look at the written instructions right now. I'm gonna look at the graph. I enjoy graphs, so I tend to. So row 3, we're here, so we're doing a single crochet in, obviously I don't indicate it here, it's sort of understood. The written instruction says so, but on the graph it doesn't. I apologize. You should always chain 1 and turn. Okay. So row 3, we single crochet in the first stitch, we chain 1. Now there's a space right away, you need to do your single crochet into that space. Okay, now here it's the 2 stitches from the previous row, they're back to back, so you do a chain 1, which covers, is on top of this one, and then you just do your single crochet stitch in the last stitch, like that. So if you look, if I put it this way, okay, you start seeing this edge will stay straight and this edge will start going that way. Okay, so if I do row 4, you always single crochet in first stitch. There's the chain 1 space that we just made from the previous row. You need to do a single crochet into that space right away. Then you chain 1, and then you can go into the you skip, obviously you skip that one, and then you single crochet into the chain 1 space. And since this is the edge that is always increasing, you always have to end with a chain 1 and then your single crochet in the last stitch. So if we continue this way, now if you want to make it easier, a way to remind you, sometimes I will put a stitch marker just on one side, just anywhere on one side, and every time I see that stitch marker on that side, it reminds me, that's the side that I have to increase all the time. So it's sort of a reminder. Okay, so row 5, since it's the increasing side, you always single crochet, chain 1, you do your single crochet in these chain 1 space, chain 1 again. Okay, now we're at the end of the row already. Yeah, as you'll start increasing, you'll see it'll get easier, but sometimes you might forget. So this side again, it's the 2 SCs in a row, so you do a chain 1, you skip this one, and you do a single crochet in the last stitch. Okay, so basically it's a repetition of these 2 rows. Row 4 and 5, a bit simpler because row 4 and 5 are a bit further along. And so you continue that way until you reach approximately row 77. We'll meet up again once we get to that point. And the next step, we'll be doing a few rows that are the same, that are not increase, so that it's that little curve that we see in the okay, so basically row 77 should be approximately 19 to 20 inches depending on your tension. If you're using a cake that's larger, that has if you're using the mandala cake, you'll have more because there's a few yards more. So you could probably continue and increase until you get to approximately 21 or 22 inches, high or long, depending on how you measure, before we start decreasing again. So that's up to you. So we'll meet up next time.